one notion that I have is that, and I'm going to say it and then I'm going to explain it, is that people don't care. I mean, seriously, we produce products. We're passionate. We think this feature is amazing. You have to try it. This product is life-changing. And then you go to market with it and you find that, well, people are not, they're not stopping their life for you.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. This episode is powered by J Ventures, a community-driven VC fund in Silicon Valley, in partnership with Leumi Tech, sponsored by Hippo Insurance, Upwest Labs, Turing, Hillel at Stanford, Leap, and in media partnership with C-Tech. Welcome to another episode of 20-Minute Leaders. I am joined today by Irit Singer, VP of Marketing at Windward. Irit is a seasoned executive with a demonstrated history of developing and growing businesses in the high-tech industry for both B2B and B2C products. Currently, she is VP of Marketing at Windward, the leading maritime AI company. Prior experiences include Senior Director at Microsoft, VP Marketing at Here Technologies, Mobility Division, and CMO at Mobli Media. Irit Singer, welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. It was hard to make this happen. Lots of technical difficulties, but we did, and it's going to be fantastic for these next 20 minutes. You have a very unusual background from electrical engineering, bachelor's from Tel Aviv University, enter L'Oreal as a full-time algorithms developer, transitioning to marketing management, and now continuing to as a marketing executive across amazing companies like Mobli, Here Technologies, now at Windward AI, doing marketing for deep tech companies. And I'm fascinated by this weird transition that I don't often see. So Irit, take me back to you as an engineer by trade and your perception of transitioning to marketing.
So to me, it makes sense, right? It all makes sense. I've always been a tech geek, I guess. So that's where I found myself in electrical engineering, and I worked developing algorithms in different companies, from enterprise to startups. 10 people in some shabby room, working day and night. And when I finished my MBA, I thought it made sense to practice or study marketing, probably in one of the best schools for marketing, which is L'Oreal. So I started there as an intern, came in for 3 months, and found myself there completely enchanted by mascaras and colors and fashion, like a total geek would, and stayed there for a few good years. But my drive for technology, my passion for that has always existed. So it got me back to Microsoft, where I was leading the business unit of Windows and devices, kind of combining both consumer and B2B capabilities in the tech space. And from there on, it just continued with technology, which is really where I was always supposed to be, probably.
Now, when you transition from algorithms developer to marketing, very, very different. What was that actually like, even socially or professionally? All of a sudden, your day-to-day looks completely different, right?
Completely different. 180-degree shift. But I think that both engineers and marketing are based on creativity. It's a different kind of creativity, obviously, and you use different skill sets, but at the end of the day, you're creating something. And I just think that a piece of what I was doing as an engineer was missing for me. I wanted to get the bigger picture. I wanted to understand how this influences the market and the different use cases and impact. So it wasn't just about developing the code and doing the R&D stuff. And I found marketing just fascinating, and combining the skills and the understanding of technology. I think that gives me a big advantage when I come into companies, my ability to understand thoroughly also the product, but also where the engineers are coming from, and kind of understand and connect the dots.
You're taking me exactly where I wanted to end up, which is this idea of marketing for deep tech companies. Usually, I think that people think differently about different professions, and one of the things that people are aware of is this dissonance between marketing and storytelling versus developing the algorithms, and they seem like two distinct things. But in order to make a company successful, they actually have to work very much together, right? And so, tell me a little bit about why is it helpful to you to understand the engineering and the algorithms while doing a marketing job?
So obviously everything's connected, and marketing is not a standalone part of the company. For marketing to work at its best, there needs to be collaboration between product and the marketing team and the sales team. Everybody really needs to work together. And from my experience, the best results are always when there's synergy between the different departments. The R&D people, it's important for two things. One, internally, so employer branding. Obviously, if you have people on board with you and they understand and they get what you do, and they have a feeling of accomplishment, so that they're working hard, and then there's someone that takes the ball from them and brings it out to the world. So my job as a marketer is really to tell people, to tell the ecosystem about the great job that these engineers are doing. And I'm very proud to do it. And in order to do it, I think at the best, it's about personal connection. It's about knowing the people, knowing what they're doing, understanding the science or the brains behind the product. It enables me to better market it, better explain it, and also to understand the challenges that may be when using the product.
Right. And so as you're then leading teams of marketing, so you're not actually doing a lot of the marketing yourself, you're vice president of marketing, you're actually you're strategically thinking through how to, for example, Windward AI, maritime, deep technology, artificial intelligence. I'm assuming that not everybody on your marketing team truly understands the algorithms, naturally, because it's a different profession, right?
Well, yes, I don't, it really depends. You don't really need to understand to the full length of the algorithm. I have to say that everyone on my team and is amazingly dedicated and understands the product. Sometimes are just excited about sitting with the engineers or the product people. And obviously, to your comment before, I don't do everything on my own. I have an amazing team. And one of the things that I find most important is building a strong marketing team. And the people that are on the team are people that I think are probably the best marketers out there. And it's a lot of teamwork. So yes, some people are more involved or in understanding the product, some less, but it's across the team. So from product marketing to content to the creative designer, everybody needs to understand what the product does in order to get a clear message, because marketing is all about getting the message out. So it could be through a visual or it could be through text, but eventually you really need to have a deep understanding of what you're selling here, what you're marketing.
Right. So I think that, some engineers that look at marketing and think, okay, they think billboards, Facebook advertisements. Share with me, what excites you about marketing, also like through the eyes of an engineer. So how do you actually think strategically through marketing for a deep tech company like a Windward AI?
Right. So definitely AI is deep tech, and the product is on the one hand very I would say complex. It has a lot of machine learning and AI models. So it's very high tech, but on the other hand, the product is very simple. So you have a very simple UI UX. So it's very clear. You can generate reports. And I think that a lot of the collaboration between marketing and product is how to simplify the understanding of the product, the value of the product. Because we're not selling features, we're not selling a product, we're selling a solution. And marketing is creating that experience. And to me, that's the most exciting part of it. Understanding what makes people tick, what makes them choose your product over others. I've had consumer experience, and I've had B2B and B2G experience. But at the end of the day, it's all about people. It's really, everyone is a consumer. So whether you're a CFO or CTO or an analyst or just, Jennifer, whatever from LA, you're a consumer. And I'm trying to take you through a journey to understand the value and the added value that I bring to your life with that product.
Within the organization, how does that work? So I understand the whole, outbound. We're taking the organization and we're bringing it to the real world and taking people on a journey. What is the journey within the organization, and what part do you play as a VP of marketing within the trajectory of the growth of the startup?
So I think it varies from company to company, obviously, but there are some basic things that are really same for every tech company, I would say. One is connecting the people to the marketing efforts. It's not standalone. You want to have the people at home believing in what you do, and through transparency and communication, we share a lot of what we do. So we don't do things like silos. And if we have a conference or a webinar, everybody's involved. We get the salespeople on board and the business operations involved. And obviously the product team is involved. And we try to get everyone on board. And through, I think, having that and having the feeling that you're part of it, even if, everyone has a different job or everyone has a different part in making this startup great. And if we all did the same job, we wouldn't grow. So the idea is that everybody does what they're really good at, but everyone has a place to contribute and to give ideas. And, I'm always open. And I think that that's the one thing that I say to anyone who's new to the company. If you have any crazy idea, small or big, come and tell me. I'm always interested in hearing. And I think that some of the greatest ideas we get from people that you would never think are marketers or not by profession. But once again, it's people, and people use products, and eventually we're all consumers of this product.
100%. Now, as you're spending 6 years in R&D and then marketing, I'm guessing
so many years.
I'm guessing that you also came to the marketing world with some preconceived notions and some expectations. What debunked them? What are some non-trivial things that you've learned across your career now that you say, well, perhaps a lot of my engineering friends don't really understand this part and this part, which I happen to understand because I've been there for so long now?
So I think that the one thing that the one notion that I have is that, and I'm going to say it and then I'm going to explain it, is that people don't care. I mean, seriously, we produce products. We're passionate. We think this feature is amazing. You have to try it. This product is life-changing. And then you go to market with it and you find that, well, people are not, they're not stopping their life for you.
Amazing.
And I think that it's always interesting to see how people react. So you really need to find that thing that makes them want to do the effort. Because if it requires effort for them, even just changing, the color of the screen or whatever, people won't bother. So that's a general notion that when you go into marketing, you think, oh, all I need to do is great marketing and everybody's going to get it, right? And then you go to market and you understand, and it's not specific to any product. It was in L'Oreal as the consumer product, and it's at Microsoft, and it was, at Windward or whatever. You really need to be very, very accurate and precise in finding what makes that specific persona want to make a change. And sometimes it could be, as silly as he wants to look good for his boss. So if you have the right report that makes him look really smart without putting too much effort, then you've got him and he's going to buy the product. So I think that being in love with the product is something that is very, I think, typical as an engineer, because you say, well, wow, I did this super smart thing. But that's not good enough. That's not good enough. And as a marketer, you understand that. And our job is really to find the way to make people care and to create that emotional connection to your brand and to your product.
And so what are the implications of this internally? Because that puts a lot of pressure on marketing, right? If an engineering team develops a great feature, if it doesn't work out in the market, then I guess marketing didn't do a good enough job, right?
Well, it also, first of all, it always depends on a good product, right? And then it depends on market fit.
Right.
Obviously, everyone in the chain is responsible for the success, and you don't really know what the secret sauce of a successful, company is. Sometimes some companies you say, I don't get it, how they're doing so well, and others you say, I don't get it, how isn't that, they're not a $10 billion company. So it really differs, but I think everyone is responsible. So there's a lot of pressure, obviously, on the R&D and product teams. And our job is to make everybody aware of the great things that we do. So there's a lot of pressure on marketing, obviously, and on the sales team, and on everyone, from finance to keeping the office fun and tidy, yes, to HR, to everyone. So it's a group effort.
One of the things that I love doing with this show is, ask questions about my own journey that I'm going to be tackling with. And I have a unique opportunity to speak to amazing people like you that have so much experience. And so I'm going to pick your brain a little bit. I imagine, starting a company and, I'm in R&D, and I think that I can, build a product nice. And then I'm really scared about, what am I going to do with marketing, and when do I hire marketing, and how do I even prioritize and think through it? What advice would you give me as a young entrepreneur as I start my journey? How should I, as a non-marketing guy, very technical, how should I go about thinking strategically about building my own marketing operations for whatever startup I happen to build?
So first of all, I think that this is something that has improved in the past few years. Definitely in the tech scene in Israel that I've seen, marketing needs to be on board as soon as possible. So from day one, I would say, because building a product that nobody cares or nobody needs is a waste of time and efforts. And I've seen some amazing R&D work with entrepreneurs that I look at the product and I say, well, okay, it's super smart. I know you put a lot of effort, but who's going to pay for this? So I think that getting marketing on board, just to understand product market fit, understand the messaging, understand the personas that you're planning to sell the product to, can save a lot of time and effort in the beginning of any development of product. So I would say as soon as possible.
Right. Now, if I were to go back, to your time at Microsoft, would you imagine years down the line you'd be where you are today in terms of either professionally, in marketing, or working with a startup and not with a big corporation?
I think it made a lot of sense for me to be at Microsoft. It's a company I love till this day, and I have nothing but great words to say about it. But it was pretty obvious that I would look for a company that is more in the building. I love building things. I think that's where my creative juices are at their best. So it was pretty obvious, and this is a journey. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm learning new technologies, meeting a lot of interesting people, new spaces, verticals, and it's just fun. Technology is amazing in that sense that everything and anything can be new, but everything that you learn and any place that you go to is another building block in your journey, and it's just amazing.
Irit, this was wonderful. Thank you for taking the time to share your journey with me. I have a few questions, not about marketing, not about Windward AI or Microsoft, but about Irit. And so I'm going to take you back to middle school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. What fascinated you as a kid? What is a subject in school, perhaps, that you were really fascinated?
I'm going to sound like a geek, but math. it was everything to me. I mean,
Wow.
I did extracurriculum work in math. I just anything and everything to do with math. It's very embarrassing, but it's true.
Very, very cool. And who would be a role model of yours or somebody that inspired you, real or fake person, over these years?
Well, undoubtedly, my mom is the most inspiring person for me. Ever since I was a kid, she's a med school professor. She always had a great career, always had time for family, and really probably my best friend. My kids are inspiring to me. They teach me, new things every day, teach me things about myself, and I think make me a better person, which is what I try to do on a daily basis.
I love it. And what are 3 words that you would use to describe yourself?
Integrity, accuracy, and well, this isn't a word, but getting things done, consider it done. I'm that kind of person. So
amazing. Irit, toda rabba. This was amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking
so
the
much
time. I learned so much. Really, thank you. And stay safe and stay healthy. And I can't wait to share this with the world. Thank you.
Thank you.